be doing this video. I'm obviously going to be saying the things that I would say in a counseling situation, and I'm also going to be describing the things that Susan, the client, says or does while we are in this session together. So let's get started. Hello, Susan. Please come in and have a seat. Susan sits. I'd like to understand a little more about your situation, but before we get started, I need you to know my role as a counselor. I would be happy to hear about your situation and maybe help you through the court process on a personal level, but as a counselor, I'm not able to speak to the court on your behalf. Before we begin, I also need to tell you that anything you say in our meetings will be confidential. However, if you or someone else is in danger, I will not be able to keep that confidential. Is that all right with you? Susan agrees. I understand that the court process can be incredibly long and stressful, and I would love to help you through any personal issues that arise during this situation. And I can see that you're rather upset, so I have about a half an hour to discuss whatever you would like right now, if you would like to do that. Susan nods and explains how her court hearing has been rescheduled after she missed an important home visit. She describes how she is at her wit's end with the court and how she feels hopeless that she will ever get her kids back. She worries for her sobriety in the process, which is the reason she lost her children in the first place. From what I've heard you say, your court hearing has been rescheduled due to a missed home visit, and your sobriety is suffering through this process. Is this correct? Susan nods. Okay, so tell me how I can help you through this process. What would you like to get out of these sessions? Susan indicates that she is overwhelmed with work as well as the court hearings. These stressors are becoming damaging to her 3-month-long sobriety. So if I may reword what you just said so that I understand correctly, is that you have been completely sober for 3 months, and the pressures of work and the court hearings are the biggest stressors in your life. Is that right? Susan nods again. You also feel as though your sobriety may suffer because of the stress you're experiencing due to these pressures, correct? Susan nods again. I make note of her stressors and her worry for her sobriety. Okay, Susan, I can completely understand how these types of major life events can cause a lot of stress on your sobriety. I myself have been sober for over 3 years, so I can understand where you're coming from as far as the cravings to succumb to this disease. The first outlet that any addict's brain naturally goes to when deciding how to handle stressful situations is to use, and logically that won't help anything, right? And then I wait for Susan to agree, which she does. Well, in order to help you through these court proceedings and any daily stressors, such as your work or anything else that's happening, I think it would be most helpful to give you some tools on how to remain sober through any of life's challenges. I think one of the most important tools an addict has is knowing themselves, their triggers, and how to talk themselves down when they're feeling stressed. We must be able to handle life on life's terms without turning to drugs or alcohol. As we both know, this disease makes us think the right choice is actually the opposite of what is healthy for us. Addicts tend to run away from problems and hide behind their addictions, and so therefore I would like to help you retrain your brain in order to think of healthy solutions to your problems that not only don't involve drugs or alcohol, but also don't involve self-sabotage, which is another unfortunate side effect of addiction. By practicing these behaviors, they will become more and more natural, and your strong cravings for your drug of choice will diminish over time. Staying sober is the only way for you to get your 2 children back, and I would love nothing more than to help you do that. Do you think this is the direction you would like to go with our time together? Susan agrees that this is the best course of action for her. She also states how she thinks this will be the best way for her to get her kids back in the end. Now, I must let you know, Susan, that this is not, and there is not, a foolproof method for handling this disease. It's not uncommon for people to get fed up with sobriety, and this is why I would like to discuss tools for you to use in our future visits together. For now, I want you to just say to yourself that you will not drink or use drugs today. I want you to do that because sometimes we have to work ourselves through this disease one day at a time. Make staying sober today your first priority. I would like for you to make an appointment with me for tomorrow or at your earliest convenience, and we can begin identifying your triggers as well as some healthy behaviors to deal with those triggers. I would love to help you through this tough time with your court proceedings as well as any other issues that may come up during our time together. I really look forward to our sessions. And then after Susan leaves, I make note of our plans for the following session, including how I can tailor her sessions to her individual dealings with the court or really any other issue that she discusses in our sessions together.